What's up, guys, and welcome to the weekly Q&A. Our first question this week comes from Andrew Kyle, who asks why blaster bolts have different colors and what do they mean? That's a great question, and we do have an answer for some of the colors, but not all of them. Red is the most common color, and it uses a cheaper and more readily available gas. Green is made from a higher quality gas, making it more expensive. Blue is an ion-based energy charge, and that's why it was used against the droid army during the Clone Wars. Orange is a low-power and non-lethal bolt used in training simulations, and we've also seen yellow and purple in use, but we don't currently know what those colors mean. Jacob Hinkle has a question about Inferno Squad. It involves some very light spoilers from the first chapter in the book, so I wouldn't consider them major spoilers, but just in case, you might want to skip ahead a little bit. Now, he asks if Iden Versio was flying a regular TIE fighter in the Battle of Yavin, and if she could theoretically be seen in A New Hope during the Death Star attack. And yeah, I think theoretically she could be seen, but she survives the battle because she was chasing ships away from the Death Star, so she was away from the explosion when it happened. She definitely wasn't in the Death Star trench runs, we know that for sure. But in like that big group shot of TIE fighters, I don't see why she couldn't be in there. Also, if I had to guess, she might be the TIE pilot that shot down John Brannon. Dason Flores asks if Dave Filoni's tweets are canon, because he's been tweeting out all of these little moments that weren't seen in Star Wars Rebels. I would say yes, but they're subject to change. If an actual story comes out and contradicts anything he's tweeted, I would say we go with the story over his tweets. But I think he is specifically sharing these little moments because in his mind, they did happen. They probably won't be contradicted. They probably won't ever be seen in the future. But I think in his mind, they did happen, and he wants us to know about them for the upcoming season. So I would say it's safe to assume that the stuff he's talking about is canon. Mark Zebro Jr. wants to know what exactly is Count Dooku the Count of? He's the Count of his home world, Sereno. He was born to a noble and very wealthy family, but he gave all that up to become a Jedi Knight. Then when he left the Order shortly before the Clone Wars, he regained his title and his wealth, and he became the Count of Sereno once more. Lucas de Carvalho Maria asks if Jocasta Nu survived Order 66. According to some summaries of some of the upcoming Darth Vader comics, it would appear that she did. We have another Order 66 survivor, but it sounds like Darth Vader and the Grand Inquisitor are going to team up to take her down, so I don't think she's going to have survived long beyond Order 66. She just survived the initial push, but as for the Great Jedi Purge as a whole, she's not going to make it. That's it for patron questions. If you're a patron and you didn't see your question answered here, just head over to Patreon where I left you a written response. If you're not a patron, you can learn more by following the link in the description. Just $1 a month will get you access to more Star Wars Explained goodies like monthly giveaways and audio commentaries for the films, and the combined donations really go a long way in helping support the channel. On to YouTube questions. GJP asks if there were ever any rebel traitors that defected to the Empire. We seem to have a lot of Imperials that defect to the Rebellion, but not the other way around. The only one I can think of right now is from Legends. His name was Sarkly. He actually flew with Luke in Red Squadron shortly after the Battle of Yavin, but he was also the nephew of Admiral Piet, and he defected to join the Empire, and he was eventually killed by Han during the Battle of Endor. Mitwit Gaming wants to know if the general public knew about infamous bounty hunters like Boba Fett, Jango Fett, or Cad Bane. I would guess that yes, even like way out there in wild space, people that are like farmers probably would catch tall tales of these really notorious bounty hunters, and then the people that are in like the criminal underworld, no matter where they are, I bet they even actively feared them. But yeah, I think for the most part, people everywhere in the galaxy had at least heard of Boba Fett. They probably hadn't actually seen him, but they had heard some story about him, whether or not it was true or like really exaggerated. I just have to imagine that for the most part, he was pretty well known. Liam O wants to know if the clones kept fighting the Separatists after Order 66. For example, did they shoot Ki-Adi-Mundi and then go back to the battle they were in the middle of already? This is just my best guess, but yeah, I think they had to keep on fighting because the droids weren't going to stop unless they were told not to or shut down completely. So I think they had to keep fighting to survive. But in my mind, when Order 66 kicked in, it just took priority. So they were fighting, and they were like, oh, we got to take care of this one thing. Okay, we killed him. Back to fighting. That's how it works in my head. Matt Thornton wants to know what I think Obi-Wan did with Darth Maul's body after he killed him in Twin Suns. I mean, I don't think he did anything unusual with it. I think he probably just buried it or burned it. For some reason, I would guess burned over buried, but I don't really know. I just think he gave him a proper burial or funeral, I guess would be a better way to describe it, because I don't know for sure that he buried him. I think he wanted to be respectful to Maul. I think in the end he pitied Maul, and he didn't want to fight and kill him, but Maul forced his hand, and it was like a very touching moment when he died. So I don't think Obi-Wan just like dropped his body and left him in the desert. I think he did something to respect Maul in the end. Samurai Knight Wars asks if I think clones could ever be Force sensitive. Now, I know that did happen on one or two occasions in Star Wars Legends. In canon, we don't have any examples of it, but theoretically, I do think it's possible. Like, if a clone had the chance to sit down and maybe had the guidance to learn to feel the Force, I don't see why not. They probably just didn't have the chance to, but I recently did a video about midichlorians and like the nature of the Force based on some tweets by Pablo Hidalgo. And based around that philosophy, I think that the Force is within everybody, and that everyone has the potential to become Force sensitive. So I don't see why a clone would be any different. I just don't think it ever happened or that they ever got the chance to. That's all the time I have for questions today. If you want to leave a question for next week's video, just put it in the comments below or sign up for Patreon to join our weekly Q&A discussion. I also do a Q&A every Friday on my Anchor station where you can leave a call-in and I will play your question on the air and then I will answer it. So that happens every Friday and there's a link to that in the description as well if you're interested. But if you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. As always, thanks so much for watching, and may the Force be with you.